The news broke on a quiet Thursday morning, October 9, 2025. A leaked document, a hushed conversation on Capitol Hill. Soon the whisper became a roar across the Pacific Ocean. The United States was considering donating a retired warship to its oldest ally in Asia, the Philippines. This was no ordinary vessel. It was a Ticonderoga-class guided missile cruiser. For the Philippines, with a modest navy, this was a potential revolution. Headlines flashed from Manila to Washington, U.S. Eyes cruiser, donation to Philippines. In the Philippines, locked in a tense maritime standoff with China, the news was electrifying. It offered hope, a symbol that they were not alone. Filipino fishermen had faced harassment. Now, the idea of possessing a powerful warship seemed like a dream. In Washington, D.C., the proposal was seen as a strategic masterstroke, a way to bolster an ally without deploying American boots on the ground. The message was clear. America stands with its partners. The donation would recalibrate the balance of power. But whispers of caution began to surface. Was this a brilliant move or a dangerous escalation? The news landed in Beijing with the force of a diplomatic bombshell. It was seen as a direct challenge, a provocation. Chinese media condemned the proposal as a reckless act threatening regional stability. The potential transfer was viewed not as a defensive measure, but as an offensive tool aimed at China. The lines were being drawn and the stakes were getting higher. In Manila, the reaction was euphoric. The cruiser represented a powerful symbol of national pride. Military analysts spoke of a paradigm shift for the armed forces of the Philippines. The potential acquisition was seen as the ultimate equalizer. Across the Pacific, in Washington, the mood was more calculated. This was a chess move on a global board. Donating a decommissioned cruiser was a cost-effective way to strengthen a key treaty ally. It would enhance interoperability between the U.S. and Philippine navies. Beijing's response was swift and stern. Chinese officials saw the move as a deliberate attempt to encircle China. They argued it would trigger an arms race. Other nations in Southeast Asia watched with apprehension and quiet approval. Countries like Vietnam saw the potential transfer as a welcome development. However, others worried about being caught in a great power confrontation. The proposed donation was sending ripples of uncertainty throughout ASEAN. What exactly is a Ticonderoga-class cruiser? It is a behemoth, a warship nearly 2 football fields long, designed during the Cold War to protect American aircraft carriers. Equipped with the sophisticated Aegis combat system, it can track and engage over 100 targets simultaneously. The heart of the cruiser is the Aegis system, often called the shield of the fleet. For the Philippine Navy, gaining this situational awareness would be transformative. The Ticonderoga's teeth are its missiles, housed in vertical launch system cells. This versatility makes the cruiser formidable. It is a multi-mission warship capable of controlling the air, sea surface, and depths below. For the Philippines, controlling its surrounding waters is a matter of national survival. The acquisition of a Ticonderoga-class cruiser would change this overnight. Acquiring a Ticonderoga-class cruiser would be a quantum leap for the Philippine Navy. Its capabilities would be transformed. A Ticonderoga would introduce true area denial capabilities. It could establish a no-fly zone over a significant portion of the West Philippine Sea. The cruiser's radar could monitor air and sea traffic for hundreds of miles. This ship would become the central hub of the country's maritime defense network. The new capabilities would be staggering. The cruiser's missiles would give the Philippines a credible defense against air attack. However, this leap in capability would come with enormous risks and costs. A Ticonderoga-class cruiser is an incredibly complex machine. It requires a crew of nearly 400 highly trained sailors. The Philippines would need a massive training program. The financial burden would be immense. The country would have to commit hundreds of millions of dollars every year just to keep this one ship at sea. Inside the United States Congress, the proposal to donate a cruiser has ignited a fierce debate. Supporters see it as a bold and necessary step. They argue the United States has a treaty obligation to help the Philippines defend itself. It sends a powerful message of resolve to both allies and adversaries. A capable Philippine Navy would lessen the burden on the United States 7th Fleet. However, there is a strong chorus of critics who view the plan as reckless. Their primary concern is escalation. They fear China would see this as a major provocation. Critics argue the move increases the chances of a miscalculation. They question the practicalities of the donation. They worry Manila will be unable to sustain the ship. Some suggest providing the Philippines with smaller, more manageable patrol vessels. This would provide a more sustainable improvement to the Philippines' defense capabilities. The debate is not just about a ship, it's about the future of American strategy in Asia. The view from Beijing is clear and uncompromising. The potential transfer of a Ticonderoga-class cruiser is seen as an act of aggression. Chinese strategic thinkers believe this is part of a broader American containment strategy. They see the cruiser as a pawn in a larger geopolitical game. A formal diplomatic protest would be just the beginning of China's response. Beijing would likely feel compelled to demonstrate its resolve. This could take many forms, including increased aggression in the waters around the Philippines. Economically, China could impose sanctions or boycotts on Philippine goods. Militarily, the PLA Navy might deploy more advanced warships to the South China Sea. The reaction would send a powerful message to the entire region. It would be a warning to other nations considering closer military ties with the US. This could create deep divisions within ASEAN. The result would be a more polarized and militarized Southeast Asia. The dream of a peaceful and stable region would recede further. For the government in Manila, the decision is agonizing. The heart screams for the cruiser. National pride is a powerful force. The image of a mighty Philippine warship is incredibly appealing. It would be a source of immense prestige. The cruiser represents a shortcut to relevance on the world stage. But the head, the rational part of the government, sees a different picture. The practicality of operating such a vessel is a nightmare. The financial cost is the most obvious hurdle. Committing to that cost for one ship would mean sacrificing other vital modernization projects. Beyond the money, there is the human cost. The Philippine Navy would have to dedicate its best personnel to this single vessel. It's a decades-long commitment. If the political will or budget falters, the Philippines could be left with a rusting hulk. This is the dilemma. A potent symbol of strength that could paradoxically weaken the overall military. The debate over the cruiser forces the Philippines to confront a fundamental question of military strategy. Is it better to have one Titan or a fleet of Hornets? The Titan approach offers unmatched capability in a single package. It can dominate a large area and serve as a powerful deterrent. Its presence changes the strategic calculus for any potential adversary. The cruiser would be the queen on the chessboard. Its advanced sensors could act as the eyes and ears for the entire Philippine military. In a major confrontation, the cruiser's missiles could be decisive. On the other hand, the fleet of Hornets strategy has its own logic. The Philippines could acquire dozens of modern fast attack craft. This approach creates a more distributed and resilient defense. An adversary might track one large cruiser, but not dozens of smaller threats. This distributed approach is often called an asymmetric strategy. Losing one small patrol boat is not a strategic disaster. The Hornets are less prestigious, but they may be more practical and effective. As of today, October 9, 2025, no final decision has been made. The proposal remains just that, a proposal. Somewhere in a U.S. naval shipyard, a retired Ticonderoga-class cruiser sits silently. Its fate is being debated in the highest levels of government in two allied nations. The ship itself is quiet, but the discussion surrounding it is deafening. It has become a symbol of the strategic crossroads facing the entire Indo-Pacific region. The world is watching this decision with intense interest. For the United States, it is a test of its commitment to its allies. For China, it is a test of its resolve to defend its core interests. For the Philippines, it is a defining moment. The fate of this single, aging warship has become a barometer for regional stability. A yes could escalate tensions. A no could be seen as a sign of weakness. Either path is fraught with risk. The decision, when it comes, will send a signal heard across the globe. The silent gray hull of the waiting cruiser holds the potential for a new chapter in global history.